So here's the kicker. When the truth finally cracks open, guess what? The money was sitting there all along. Tiffany steps away, and suddenly it's, oh, wow, look what we just found. Yeah, right. That cash didn't just fall out of the sky. Napoleon fattened his checks, stamped shady budgets, and flipped numbers like he was hustling a carnival booth. Literally the same stuff Tiffany was roasted for. And here's the plot twist. Maybe she wasn't even stealing. Maybe she just refused to show her whole deck of cards. Now Napoleon's left scratching his head like, wait, so she might not have done anything? Welcome to transparency, champ. Napoleon, let's be clear. If you want to wear the transparent crown, start by telling the truth. Don't roll in acting squeaky clean when all you're doing is remixing Tiffany's hustle with fancier punctuation. Talking about being translucent doesn't mean squat if you're still moving shady behind the curtain. The only thing see-through right now is your ego. You're not breaking cycles. You're just rerunning the same scam with a polished filter. Stop acting like you're rewriting history when it's obvious you're just tracing Tiffany's old script. Before we keep pushing smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Now, back to that Thornton Township meeting. Folks said the board sounded defensive, but honestly, that's their default mode. They dodge questions like it's a gym class dodgeball game. The real moment wasn't the board, it was the residents. People stepped up to the mic and started dropping lines that had me cracking up, side-eyeing, and second-guessing everything. Just another circus night in Thornton. But then one speaker grabbed my full attention, Mr. Christopher Gonzalez. And listen, something about that man's delivery has always rubbed me the wrong way. Maybe it's just me, but I've had him on my radar for years. Especially since he's the one who randomly threw Tiffany's name into the mix back in the day and opened the door for her to become supervisor. That one move had red flags waving in 4K. And now he's back at the mic? The vibe is straight snake energy. No question, he opens his mouth, starts talking, and then he drops a line that had me hitting pause like, wait, did he really just say that? Nah, that's not sliding past me. We're going to break this down piece by piece, play by play, because whatever slick move he thought he was pulling with that statement, it deserves to be dragged into the spotlight and roasted under the brightest lamp we can find. You already know I'm about to dive in. Trust me, this one's worth it. Roll the clip. Here's the thing. Tiffany hated questions. Ask her anything simple, and she'd glare like you just insulted her entire family tree. Her default response? Why don't you just trust me? Like asking for details was a crime. And her favorite hiring trick? Stacking her office with folks who had records. She dressed it up as second chances. But let's keep it real. When your whole staff is ex-cons, that's not charity. That's strategy. Fill the room with people too scared to clap back, and suddenly you're untouchable. Then came the budgets, or whatever you want to call them. In reality, straight-up black holes. Tiffany wanted rubber stamps on paperwork nobody even saw. For all anyone knew, she was cutting Tiffany-sized checks to Tiffany herself. No answers, no receipts, no transparency. And now, look, the story writes itself. The chaos was fueled by her secrecy. Nobody knew the numbers, nobody knew the spending. But the moment she's out, boom, Napoleon's handing himself raises, and suddenly the books are crystal clear. So tell me, what's the real story here? Are y'all admitting Tiffany wasn't stealing? Maybe she wasn't even corrupt, just paranoid and power drunk. Because if the money was always sitting there, untouched, then this wasn't embezzlement. It was ego. I remember Tiffany swearing up and down, we have money, but when pressed for proof, she'd snap back, I don't like your tone. That's not theft, that's arrogance. Receipts probably existed. She just thought the people didn't deserve to see them. Big difference, and now the budgets are open. The numbers are live. Finally, things are shifting. Services aren't being gutted. They're expanding smarter. This is what should have been happening all along, more with less. That's why finalizing budgets isn't optional. It's survival. Take general assistance. Remember Tiffany's pet tax refund program? Yeah, it's back. But this time, with real math backing it. Tiffany, here's your reality check. Gonzalez basically stood at that mic and said, "You weren't a thief. You were just impossible to deal with." And honestly, that tracks. Your downfall wasn't corruption. It was pride. You treated simple questions like attacks. All ego, zero service. And when you guard the budget like Fort Knox, people assume you're hiding bodies. Even if you weren't dirty, you created enough smoke to make everyone think there was fire. But hey, you can still spin it. Push that fake book, run your fairy tale. We both know it's not a book. No chapters, no ISBN, just a Vistaprint pamphlet with staples in the corner. But sure, play the victim. Claim you were punished unfairly. Take it on tour if you want. And on this Gonzalez situation, I'll even co-sign. For once, the math actually lines up. Meanwhile, Gonzalez, cut the mic. You're digging your own grave in real time. The crowd side-eyeing you like, please stop, but you keep rambling. You think you sound wise? Bro, you sound like a knockoff TED Talk. Back in the day, people pitched half-baked ideas like, let's bring back the tax refunds. My first question, where's the math? Who wins? What's the plan? Back then, silence. Now, we've got receipts. That's progress. That's how you move forward, not just board to board, but board to residents. Picture Napoleon sitting there wide-eyed, realizing, wait, so Tiffany wasn't stealing? She just didn't pass out the receipts. And now he's sweating, thinking, if she got roasted this bad for being secretive, what's going to happen to me if I slip up? That's the lesson, Napoleon. Transparency. Be so clear we can see your childhood scars. Be a window pane, not a brick wall. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to one thing, communication. Not just inside the board, but with the people. And finally, after 63 long days, that's actually happening. Think of like dating. You learn, you adjust, you grow. Unless you're out here thirsting after Napoleon, who, reminder, is married. This ain't Christian mingle. Relax. But hey, call what it is, growth. Residents are finally in the loop. People aren't left in the dark anymore. And then comes a comedy. Don't worry, I'm actually going to do my job now. Sir, did you just admit you've been cashing checks for speeches and selfies? And now you want a standing ovation because you open your laptop? Please. Chris, whatever you think you said ain't what the crowd actually heard. That sad little clap at the end, that wasn't support, it was pity. Like, let me clap once before he starts crying. That's not applause that if that was your kid or someone who actually needed a ride home, fine. But real applause? Absolutely not. This wasn't a win. It was an intervention. Still, shout out where it's due. The supervisor, the board, and the residents. Y'all kept pressing with the uncomfortable questions. No more, trust me, bro, budgets. No more smoke and mirrors. Finally, people are actually in the room where it happens. That's the move. That's the tweet. But Chris, next time you feel the urge to grab the mic, resist. Last time you had a bright idea, Tiffany wound up supervisor. And we've been living in a circus ever since. This ain't redemption. It's opportunism dressed up. Seeing Marvon up there? Wrong vibe. Like she clicked the wrong Zoom link and just stayed. Back to Chris. All he really confirmed was what everyone suspected. Tiffany wasn't stealing. She was hoarding the budget like it was Grandma's secret recipe. Once she left, y'all opened the books. Guess what? The numbers were fine. No missing millions. Just Tiffany being Tiffany, stubborn and paranoid, allergic to accountability. So clear the record. If she wasn't a thief, say it loud. The streets called her a crook. And if that's false, correct it. Don't let that lie breathe. Yes, I've caught her spinning stories like a carnival barker. She lies, sure, but lying ain't the same as stealing. Y'all blurred the line, and everyone ran with it. That needs fixing. Say what's true. Truth is, Tiffany could stroll back in and own the moment. She took hits and kept moving. Built forward tough. Unlike somebody else parading with a walker, crying wolf every 5 minutes. Ma'am, don't. You threw shade for years. But when folks questioned your mystery illness, you screamed harassment and dialed 911. Please, sit down. We won't name names. You like your anonymity, but Jedi knows. We all know the math ain't matting. Anyway, behave or don't. I'm not. But remember, Mama still loves you. Always.